Greetings, comrades! This is Unforgiving Caleb, back with another H3VR video, and we're going to be doing something a little different this time around. Normally I play H3VR, do these H3VR videos, like show off random guns, show off new guns and updates, new features and stuff, go around taking hold. But today I thought I'd do something a little more educational. Now, as many of us know, guns are awesome, fun to shoot around and go to the range with. But, gotta remember, guns are not toys. So, I've been watching Brandon Herrera's Darwin Award videos, and he gives out very important rules about gun safety, and I've actually been reading it up myself, even though I know about gun safety, because I've been shooting guns for years. Not a lot of people do shoot guns, let alone know about gun safety. And I've actually read an article on gunpros.com, I actually have a link in the description so you can check it out yourself, about general gun safety. Now, it's fun to play guns in video games, you can play all these first-person shooters. Even in VR, it definitely feels like you're, well, it doesn't quite feel like you're holding a gun, but just, envisioning you're actually holding a gun makes you feel powerful. But you gotta remember, in real life, guns are not toys. They're very dangerous, and you can even kill someone with it, accidentally or otherwise. So, I figured for this video, we're going to demonstrate the 4 most important rules of gun safety, as well as a few other rules that should be known about when it comes to operating guns in a safe manner. So basically, the 4 most important rules are: 1, treat any gun you hold as if it was loaded. 2, don't point the gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. 3, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And 4, be aware of your target and what's behind it. So, we'll start off with number 1.
1. Treat all guns as if they are always loaded.
So, as you can see here, I got my Beretta here. Obviously, nothing in the chamber. There's not even a magazine in there, but it never hurts to check. See? The little brass check, it's empty. Nothing inside. And even with a magazine here, I'm actually going to intentionally take out all but 1 bullet. Put that in there. So, if a gun, now it's not quite loaded yet, but as soon as I pull that slide, it's hot. Now, here's the thing. Take out the magazine, see there's nothing in the magazine, but there's still a round in the gun. It's still locked and loaded. So, even if you have your magazine out of the gun, there could still be a round in the chamber. So just because there's a magazine in the gun doesn't mean there's no round in the chamber. So, very important whenever you're handling a gun for the first time, especially if it's a gun you've never seen before, the first time you pick it up, brass check it. Just pull back the slide, make sure it's empty before you handle it. Alright, now for number 2.
2. Never point the gun at anything you aren't willing to destroy.
Now, generally when you're holding a gun in the range, you want to keep the barrel pointed up. That way, if it does accidentally discharge, it's only hitting the ceiling and it's not, hitting the person next to you or, God forbid, yourself. Not only keep the barrel pointing up, but also keep it a safe distance away from your face, and especially people around you. And of course, when you're handling a gun, don't point it. And I'll admit, I'm guilty of this myself. Even in an empty, unchambered gun, I still unintentionally, accidentally point at someone that I don't intend to. Whether intentional or not, it's very important. Like I said, even if the gun's unloaded, completely empty, you don't want to take that chance. So it should go without saying, if you don't intend on hurting anyone around you, keep your barrel pointed up, and of course, make sure it's unloaded. Now for step 3.
3. Keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to shoot.
So, see? Gun's triggered. Now, even in VR, when I'm handling a gun, I keep my finger off the trigger, literally. Like, trigger's right here. But I always keep my finger off it until I'm ready to fire. This goes with real guns as well, because Some guns have more sensitive triggers than others, and even in that case, it's very important to practice proper gun safety. I see this all the time in video games. You're reloading a gun, the guy's finger's still on the trigger. Like, God forbid you put a magazine, and the gun goes off while you load it. Very, very bad. You know, it's a common mistake I see in video games and stuff, and sometimes even in movies and TV shows. You know, when you're loading a gun, you keep that finger on the trigger, or your gun's close to depressing it, there's a very good chance it's going to go off. So, you should go without saying, this is also why you make sure the gun's unloaded and unchambered. Even then, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Now for 4.
4. Be sure of your target and what's behind it.
Especially out in an outdoor range, you want to be careful not only of your target in front of you, but anything that might be behind it. That's why in a lot of gun ranges, there's a pause from the shooting, give people a chance to, check on their targets, readjust them or put new targets down. And you want to make sure the entire area is clear of any bystanders before you fire again, because God forbid you shoot your target in front of you, you didn't realize there's somebody like 10 feet right behind it, and that bullet goes through and hits them as well. Not a very good scenario. That's why there's always a safe period whenever you're done firing your guns. Everyone goes up to check their targets, make sure their targets are okay. Do not fire a gun unless everyone in front of you is behind you, because you don't want to take that risk. So those are the 4 basic gun safety rules. Now let's get some that some you might know about, some maybe not so much. One good thing, wear eye and ear protection. Now, obviously in a video game, guns aren't nearly as loud as they seem, but in real life, if you fire a gun, you know how loud it is. That's why when you're outdoors, it never hurts to have a nice pair of eye protection and a good set of noise-canceling earmuffs. Because guns are loud, especially when you get to the rifles, because it's a big round, louder the sound. And it's especially important in indoor ranges, because when it comes to outdoor ranges, at least all the sound is going forward and dispersing out. But in an indoor range like this, the sound reverberates, and it gets really loud, and it can damage your hearing. So it's very important to wear ear protection and eye protection, especially because even if you do practice proper safe handling guns, brass is going to be flying. Suddenly you get smoke and gunpowder all over the place, and you don't want that stuff getting in your eyes. Trust me, it's not a good thing. Now the next one applies to rifles. Now, it can apply to any gun, but it's especially true with rifles. Basically, a little scenario. Say you pull a trigger, but the gun doesn't go off, and you know there's ammo in there. Well, what you want to do, don't fire it for a short bit. In fact, if it doesn't fire, you pull the trigger, keep the gun pointing away from any bystanders, and again, anything you don't want to destroy, because there's a good chance it might be a hang fire or a delayed discharge. There's a good chance that round inside might not be properly working, and then suddenly it might go off. Then after that, try to clear the round any way you can. Be sure it's no longer a threat or a problem. And it's a pretty scary scenario when you pull a trigger, it doesn't go off, but there is a round in there, and you don't realize it hasn't fired until it's too late. Again, that's why you keep your finger off the trigger, especially when you're trying to clear out a jam in a gun, because there's no telling if it's going to go off or not, so best play it safe. Another thing a lot of people don't think about, don't trust the safety on your gun. Now, this is a rare instance, but it can happen. Now, even if you have a gun that's on safe, like right now, see, pull the trigger but nothing comes out, there's a chance that that safety might not work properly, and it could still be a malfunction or a discharge if you pull the trigger. So, even if the gun's on safe, treat it as if it's loaded and ready to fire. Because, again, it's a rare case, but it can happen. Just because it goes unsafe doesn't mean it is safe. There's always that rare opportunity that you have a malfunction safety and it could still go off. So definitely want to pay attention to that. Alright, so this next one goes to something I talked about earlier. Whenever you pick up a new gun for the first time, clear it. Basically, let's go and disengage the safety there. Get the mag. Basically, when you pick up a gun for the first time, even if you don't think it's loaded, check it anyway. Just pull back the slide, make sure the chamber's empty, make sure the magazine's empty, and again, especially with rifles, you pull back the bolt, make sure it's clear, there's just no round inside bolt or anything like that, and you're good to go. Like I said, treat any gun as if it's loaded. Especially if it's a gun you've never seen before, picked up, make sure to check it. If you don't know how it works, then just don't touch it at all. Here's another one a lot of people don't think about until it's too late. Check your barrel for obstructions. Now, it's one thing if your gun doesn't go off. It's another thing if your gun goes off, but there's something in the barrel. Like, say here, like, there's a buildup of lead. Like, lead bullets do exist. If you're not sure how lead works, it starts to melt after going past 800 feet per second. It can gunk up the barrel, and it can get to the point where it might be less accurate, but you might get to the point where the bullet won't come out at all. But not just that, but like if you drop it on the ground, you get like mud or dirt debris inside that barrel and it'll clog it up. It could be a bad scenario if you try to fire it in that case. So, yeah, want to make sure your gun's clean, check the barrel, make sure there's no obstructions or buildups or anything like that. Because it's all fun and games till a gun blows up in your hand because the barrel is obstructed. Now this goes for what I mentioned earlier, know your firearm. Like I said, if it's a gun you've never seen before, or you pick it up for the first time, it helps to know if you know how to use it. Like, you know, pistols are self-explanatory, you know, you get the handle, you get the slide, slide release, slide lock, stuff like that. But what if you pick up a gun that has different features, like a different look to it? Not only that, but like fire mechanism's different, or safety's in a different spot, or something like that. It helps to know your firearm before you use it. Here's another one a lot of people don't really think about. Pay attention to how you holster your gun, not only how you pull it out, but especially how you put it back in. So, let me run a scenario by you. Say I got a gun here. Might as well turn on the safety just to be safe. So, pull up my gun. Make sure it's on safety. So I don't have to worry about shooting myself. And of course, make sure it's chambered. And, you know. But what if you put it back in and your finger's still on the trigger? And you try to wrestle in that holster and then all of a sudden, boom. You shot your finger, or God forbid, you shot down here. Again, should go without saying, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. If you're done firing, still keep it off. And better yet, put it on safe. That way, you know it's not going to go off when you put it in. But of course, that kind of contradicts what I said earlier, don't trust your gun's safety. But like I said, that's a rare instance. But something to keep in mind. Here's yet another thing some people probably don't think about. Pay attention to the ammo your gun uses. Make sure you use the correct ammo, and don't try to get creative and modify the gun so it can fire that. And leave that to the professionals. Like, case in point. You got M4 here, 5.56, but you try to be a dimwit and try to load, I don't know, maybe 6.8mm or 300 blackout on here. Not a good idea. This gun is chambered at 5.56, which means it should fire 5.56. Don't try to put an ammo that's not designed for in there. Not only is it not going to work, but it could end in catastrophe. Just ask Kentucky Ballistics. Yeah, pay attention to the caliber your gun's using, and use that kind of ammo. It'll save you a big headache and possibly a missing limb. This is another one you should go without saying. Don't fire a gun if you're drunk or under the influence of drugs or anything like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's bad enough if you go drinking and driving, but what about drinking and firing a gun? I don't think any more needs to be said about that. Which brings me to another thing to mention. Don't fire guns if you're angry or depressed or in a, non-ideal emotional state, because people get angry or get depressed, they start to have a different mindset, and they might think about harming someone or even harming themselves or, God forbid, killing themselves. It's a very serious scenario. If you know anybody who's suffering depression or anything like that, keep them away from guns, because there's no telling what's going to happen. Best to play it safe. Here's another one I should go without saying. Store your guns safely. It should go without saying, keep them away from children, pets, untrained individuals, stuff like that, because people do stupid stuff all the time. Especially when it comes to guns. Just store them safe. Get yourself a good gun safe. Get some trigger locks for pistols. Those locks you put through the those trigger locks you put through the slide of the pistol into the magazine well, so it locks in place so it can't be fired unless you have the key to unlock it. Get a good gun safe, keep them out of reach of children and pets and stuff like that. And another thing should go without saying, but I guess I should say it anyway. And yet, one more that should go without saying: practice proper gun safety in firing ranges. Especially in an enclosed space like this, the chance of screw-ups could be even more catastrophic, because at least in outdoors, you miss a target, hit something not supposed to, at least it's a distance away. It's not you're over ricochets or anything like that. But in an indoor range, it could be even more catastrophic, because smaller spaces, if you aim the gun the wrong way, point the wrong angle, it could ricochet. You could, again, hit something you don't intend to hit, anything like that. And as I mentioned before, proper eye and ear protection indoors is paramount in firing guns, unless you want to be deaf. And all the things I mentioned before, big four. Keep your finger off the trigger. Don't point anything you're not willing to destroy. Treat any gun as if it's loaded. Pay attention to your target and what's behind it. It's especially true in indoor ranges, because you'd be surprised how many videos I've seen of accidents that happen in indoor ranges compared to outdoor ranges. It's not pretty. And there you have it, comrades. A little different from the usual H3VR videos I upload, but watching these other videos and stuff, I kind of want to do one of my own. Now, I know it's on VR, but again, as I mentioned, guns are not toys. In games, they're fun. In real life, they can be fun if you know how to use them properly and practice proper gun safety. Again, it's all fun and games till someone wins a Darwin Award for not handling a gun properly. Just ask Brandon Herrera. He knows all about that. So anyway, that's it for this video, comrades. I hope you learned something from this. I certainly did. And as I mentioned, guns are not toys. Especially in real life. It'll be fun to shoot. Not so fun if you accidentally hurt yourself or someone else. So, hope you learned something from this. And hope to see you out in the range. This is Caleb signing out. Have a good day.